We are currently discussing Module 3 of C# programming language, out of which we have covered all these topics. And we are currently discussing inheritance and its properties, in which we have discussed what is inheritance. We have seen the two different types of inheritance, classical and containment inheritance. Then we have also seen how to define a subclass, what is the syntax of defining a subclass. We have discussed a sample program also. We have seen some of the characteristics of inheritance. We have also seen what is the visibility control for class as well as for class members. The class visibility we discussed. We also discussed visibility of class members. In the same context, we have discussed the accessibility of the domain members and the accessibility constraints in the inheritance. We have also discussed how a constructor for a derived class can be declared and how a subclass constructor can invoke a base class constructor explicitly. In multi-level inheritance, how the base class constructor can be invoked, etc. Today in this video, we are going to discuss the runtime polymorphism and how it is implemented using method overriding. In our previous classes, we have discussed what is polymorphism. We discussed two types of polymorphism, compile time and runtime polymorphism, in which the compile time polymorphism can be achieved using method overloading or operator overloading. But the runtime polymorphism is implemented through method overriding or method hiding. So we are going to discuss what is overriding methods. All of us know that subclass inherits the properties of superclass. Sometimes same methods may be defined both in base as well as in subclasses. If so, we want object respond to same method but in different way. Object respond to same method but in different way. That means when I invoke the same methods defined in base class as well as in subclass, if the method is invoked by the subclass object, the behavior must be different. And if it is invoked by the base class object, the behavior must be different. So if I want different behavior for the same method, then I can go for overriding the methods defined in the superclass. This is how we are going to achieve runtime polymorphism. So when you override with different objects, the compiler cannot identify to which method it can be bound. So it will be delaying the binding process until runtime. So we call it as runtime polymorphism. So if I want to override methods, the methods in the subclass must have the same signature as that of the base class method. It must have same signature. When I say same signature, same name, same number of arguments and type of arguments, and same return type must be there. Only then I can go for overriding methods. Not only that, if I want to override in the base class, the method must be declared as virtual, and in the subclass the same method must be declared as override. Only then you can implement overriding methods. So this is a kind of situation that we are going to see in our demo program. I have class A. Inside class A, I have display method. This class A is inherited by class B, which also has a display method. Class B is inherited by class C, which also has a display method. So this is the construct that we are going to use for our demo program. So in the demo program, we will be discussing how overriding is done for hiding the base class methods in the subclass. We will be discussing both how override keyword is used and how new keyword is used for hiding methods defined in the base class. Let us see the program now, the demo programs. I go to the demo program now. So this is the first program. Here the method display is declared in the base class A, but it is not declared in classes B or C. So what we do, I have, as usual, you are using directive with system namespace. Then you define your own namespace. I call it as method overriding demo. I define class A with public void display as its method member. Class B inherits A, class C inherits B, and B and C are not having any definition for display method. I go to the main program. In the main program, I have an object of A created, which invokes display method. Object of B is created, it invokes display method. Object of C created, it also invokes the display method. So when the object A, B, C all invokes the display method, the output will be what is given here inside the body of the display method defined in class A. So all these things will be displaying A : display. So this will be the output for this particular program. If you want, let us execute this program. Let me clear the terminal. Let me maximize it. Let me increase the size. Zoom it. Yeah. Now it will be clear for you. Then yeah, it will be clear for you now. Yeah, I open the override demo program, the first demo program that has display method. No, not this one, sorry. Let me copy paste this program. I copy paste. This is the program. It's a very simple program that shows multi-level inheritance. I'm going to compile this program. I execute it. Which will be an exe file. Yeah. So you will get the output like all the three objects of A, B and C will be invoking the same method as that of this method will be invoked. And now the second part of the overriding demo program, you have a display method in all the three classes. In all the three classes I am going to have the display method. And observe here, this method is declared in class A. The same way I have another display method for class B, another display method for class C also. And as usual, I am creating objects of A, B and C. And when I invoke A dot display, it invokes the display method. And when I invoke B dot display, B display method is invoked. C will be invoked. Now the difference here is A is a base class reference. A is a base class reference which is pointing to an object of B class, which is a derived class. That means a reference of base class can point to a derived class object. This is permitted. Now whereas if you are going to declare like this, B is actually a reference of class B, which is a derived class, and A is the base class. So if you try to do this definition is not possible, because a derived class object reference cannot point to the base class object. It cannot point to the base class object. So this is not possible, but this is possible. Now here when I invoke A dot display, it is not going to, though the object is B, A will be invoking the display method that is available in class A. So your output will be A colon display. The same way I am creating an object of C, but the point reference is B reference. If so, when I invoke this method, it will be displaying B's display method and not C's display method, because all the three have definitions for display method. Only the objects of that particular class can invoke the display method. If the reference is different, depending on the reference type, the display method will be invoked. So here the reference is actually of class A, so it is displaying class A display method. Here the reference is actually of class B, so it invokes the display method of B and not C. So that is what you have to understand in the multi-level inheritance, and all the three classes are having same method defined, and observe here it is also using same signature. Now if you want me to execute this program, let me open this. So this is the program which we are talking about. All the three are having display method, and I have objects of A, B, C separately, but object of B is being pointed by reference of A, object of C being pointed by reference of B. So let us execute this program, and if you see, I am going to compile it. Observe here, when I compile, it is giving me a warning message. What is the warning message I get? The namespace name dot class name dot display hides inherited member of class A's display method. So this display method hides inherited member of class A. So you can use the new keyword if hiding was intended. This is the message, warning message. It is not an error message, it is a warning message you will get during the compilation process. So what happens actually here, the program will be, this definition will be hiding this particular definition for all the objects of class B, provided the reference is also of class B. Whereas if the object is class B but the reference is of class A, it will take only this display method and not this particular display method. So this point you have to remember. So let me execute this program. You can see here A, B, C objects individually. When I invoke display method, it is displaying. But here I invoked object B display method using reference of class A. So it is not hiding it, it is using A's method itself. In the second case, I am having C object, but the reference is of class B. So class B reference invokes only B's display method. So this is the thing that you have to remember in the inheritance. Now the third part of inheritance. So this is the warning message we have got, right? So this is the warning message we have got. So if I don't want to get this warning message, what I can do? For hiding the base class method from derived class, simply declare the derived class method with a new keyword. So what I do here, I have the display method. So to hide this method, actually it is hidden, but it is giving you some warning message. So to overcome that, what I can do, declare this as the new method. In the derived class, declare the method as new method. Then automatically the output will be something like this. A will be having its own display method, B will be having its own display method, C will be having its own display method. But if the reference is of base class reference, only the base class method will be invoked. Here also the reference is base class method. Actually the object is of class C, but the reference is base class B, immediate base class B. So the method will be of class B itself. So this is what happens when you are going to hide the method. Now I will tell you when we will be using this new. So if suppose you have declared the base class and you are going to declare the derived class, you know how to handle both the methods. But imagine the method is already defined outside your program. You are going to use it from some kind of library which is already declared. You want to redefine that particular method in your derived class. Imagine class A is not defined here, it is somewhere else in some other namespace. Let me say in system namespace you have class A with display method. So that you cannot go and redefine it. But you want redefinition for your derived class. By the time you can go for the new modifier. So whenever a library which is already defined should be redefined in your derived class, you can go for a new modifier. That is the advantage here. Now, suppose say for example the A reference as well as B reference should also focus only on the B object and C object respectively. You can go for virtual and override properties. So for overriding the base class method in the derived class, we have to declare a base class method as virtual and derived class method as override. So what you will be doing here? In the base class, declare it as virtual, use the virtual keyword, and in the derived class, declare this as override. Okay, then again in another derived class, again you can override it. So this display method is unique to C, which will be hiding both these methods, and this method will be unique to B, and this will be hiding this particular display method. So let us see what happens in the main function. So in the main function, as usual, you create objects of A, B, C separately. By the time the individual or unique display method of these objects will be invoked. But here you can note the difference. When I create an object of B and the reference is A, Now it is displaying the method of B and not A. Earlier in this example, when it was declared with new modifier, the object reference A was using the display method of class A. But now what I have done, I have overridden this display method, which is a virtual display method. So when you declare a method as virtual, it can be overridden in the derived class. That is the advantage here. So what happens now? Here object B has overridden the virtual method. So it is no more having this display method of class A. It is having only the display method of class B. So the object reference A is also pointing to the display method of B and not A. In the same way, in the previous example, here class C was having new modifier for the display method to hide the method of B. But when you have invoked the object method using B reference, it was using only the B display method and not C display method. But when you use virtual and override, you can observe the reference B is invoking the display method of class C and not B. And one more thing that you have to observe here, the virtual method of class A is overridden here in B, and the overridden method of class B is again overridden in C. This is also possible. An overridden method can be again overridden in the derived class. This is possible. So the output will be the methods individually. This is okay, but even if the references are being changed, it can invoke the methods. That is why you can observe here also you have the same statements, here also you have same statements, but only during the runtime the object can understand whether it has to invoke the base class method or the derived class method. That is why we say the binding of method invocation to the method definition is delayed until runtime. So we call it as runtime polymorphism. So only during the execution the system can understand whether it has to invoke the display method of A or display method of B. So if it is new, it will be invoked with the base class display method, but if it is override, it will be invoking the derived class display method. So this is very important. And another point that we have to remember here, we can also combine the method hiding and method overriding by using both virtual and new keywords, since the method of a derived class can be virtual and new at the same time. So this is required when we want to further override the derived class method into next level as overriding class B display method in class C. Say I have class A with public method. In class B, I am declaring it as new method, which is also a virtual method. Then I can go for overriding it. So what happens now? The C will be overriding this method and not this method. So that is the advantage here. Now let us see what is the output of this program. When I execute ABC methods, it will be having its own display. And when I am using object B with reference A, it is using A display method. When I use B reference for object of class C, it is using C display and not B display. Can you understand the difference here? Here what happened? A reference was invoking B display method. B reference was invoking C display method because both are overridden by the virtual method. Sorry, both are overridden for the virtual method. But here what happens? This is a virtual method, this is a new method. It is not overriding this display method. It is not overriding this display method. So, reference A was using display method of A, whereas here for class C, the display method is overridden and the base class is declaring it as virtual. So, object B, though it is pointing to object of class C, it is going to invoke only C display method and not B display method. These are the points that we have to understand in the method overriding for multi-level inheritance. So the points to be noted are: the virtual keyword is used to modify a method, property, indexer or event declared in base class and allow it to be overridden in the derived class. So not only method, you can use property, indexer or event declared in the base class can be overridden in the derived class. The same features are applicable for properties, indexers and events. The override keyword is used to extend or modify a virtual or abstract method, property, indexer or event of the base class into the derived class. So I can use a method, property, indexer, event as a virtual method in the base class. The same way I can override all these things by using I can override all these properties, indexer, event and methods if they are declared as virtual in the base class. So these are the points that we have to note. So let us go back to the slides. So we have discussed how overriding can be implemented with some demo programs. So these are the points that we have to note here. Base class as virtual and derived class as override will be hiding the base class method from subclass. Base class virtual and derived class is having override declaration, then it will be hiding the base class method from subclass. In the same way, if the base class method is a non-virtual method and the derived class is having new modifier, it will also hide the base class method from subclass. So if you ask me how to hide the base class method from subclass, these are the two ways of hiding the base class method from subclass. What is the first one? Declare the base class as virtual and the derived class as override, or declare the base class method as non-virtual. Non-virtual means normal method without any virtual override keyword, and in the derived class you can declare it as a new method or using a new modifier. Now these are some of the features that we have to remember. An override declaration may include abstract modifier. You can have abstract modifier for the overridden method. And it is an error for an override declaration to include new static or virtual. That is not possible. If a method is overridden, that cannot be declared as a static method, virtual method or a new method. Overridden base method cannot be static or non-virtual. It must be virtual. You cannot have a non-virtual method overridden using the override keyword. Then overridden base method cannot be sealed also. So if you seal it, automatically it cannot be inherited, but overridden method must be inherited. So overridden base method cannot be sealed. And another feature, to override a method without declaring it virtual, you have to use a new modifier. to override a method without declaring it virtual, you can use new modifier. Declare the derived class method as new, that is it hides the base class method. So you can I think you can take these two statements combined together. To override a method without declaring it virtual, you can use a new modifier, that is declaring the derived class method as new, so that it hides the base class method. And new declaration does not remove the member but makes it inaccessible. So it does not remove the member but it makes inaccessible. So what happens? In the next level, the property will be taken to the derived class. That is why we say it does not remove the member but it makes it inaccessible in the subclass. New and override cannot be used simultaneously. You can have new and virtual combined together, but new and override will not go together. So these are the features and properties of overriding method. We have seen what is runtime polymorphism. Runtime polymorphism is achieved using overriding method, for which both base class and subclass must have same signature of a method. And if you want to implement overriding, the base class method must have virtual keyword and the derived class method must have override keyword. Apart from that, if a non-virtual method is to be invoked, if a non-virtual method is to be overridden, then you can use the new modifier. But new and override cannot be used simultaneously. So these are some of the properties that you have to remember while using multi-level inheritance and runtime polymorphism. We will be discussing abstract classes, abstract methods, sealed classes and sealed methods in the next video. Thank you for watching.